The Global Game Jam is a 48-hour in-person event taking place in sites all over the world at the same time. And don't get me wrong, online jams are great, but actually going out and teaming up with a bunch of strangers is much more fun and a good chance to touch some grass.
I'm outside to record this, but we are in. We're in. So I'm waiting for my friends, and then we'll see the theme, and then we'll spend the next 2 days coding. My head is killing me, but now I'm excited. So let's do it.
Anyway, I got to the event and picked a seat, just in time for the reveal of this year's theme and diversifiers. What a theme, right? Nah, come on. Every theme sounds bad at first, but that is just the friction of actually having to come up with an idea. Once you embrace it, the theme will guide you to greatness. And to jankiness. Finding a team was surprisingly easy. I was there with 2 friends, and we were not the only ones looking to squat up at our table, so we quickly hit it off and formed a group. Initially, we were torn between a more literal interpretation of the theme or whether we should go in a more metaphorical direction, but then we found a way. Someone in the team brought up this awesome video about echidnas blowing snot bubbles, and we knew we had to go max silly. So we decided to make a 2D platformer where you blow snot bubbles to fly and interact with the level. Speaking of the team, big part of the appeal of in-person events is to team up with strangers and embark on this quest together, so let's introduce them. We have 2 game designers, Fiamma and Whyres, a composer and sound designer, Victor. We have a jack of all trades, aspiring solo dev, Linda. And then we have my 2 friends, Claudia, who's an amazing artist, and Norman, who's the one who invited me, who will be taking on the coding along with me. Luckily, the site would not stay open overnight, and none of us was planning on pulling an all-nighter. So we had a pretty rigid time frame to start brainstorming the mechanic, gauging the visual and audio vibe of the game, and start coding the first features. By the end of the first night, we had an initial version of the player movement, which is a pretty important component of a 2D platformer, if I can say so myself. And look at my precious baby! We have different jump heights depending on how long you hold the jump button, higher gravity when falling so that it feels more snappy, and even jump buffering to ensure responsiveness and exploitability of the mechanics. It's almost 7 AM. I'm tired. I put this on just to film, but I'm taking a shower and then I'm just leaving for the jam site. After a good night's sleep, it was time to get back to the grind. The doors of the site opened at 8 AM, and at 8:01 I was there, adding some systems to make the game actually playable. A main menu, seat management, a game loop, and an event system. Of course, since this is a jam game, we forgot to add a pause menu. Again. While the designers were finalizing what mechanics would make it into the game from yesterday's brainstorming, we were making good progress on coding the ones that had already made the final cut. Norman started coding the bubble blowing and shooting mechanic, while I recycled the player's movement code to make some patrolling enemies that would just go back and forth. Also, let me know if I'm crazy because I got some side eyes for this, but am I the only one that refers to these enemies as Goombas? The moment Claudia sent the player's character sprite though, we had to stop. There was nothing wrong with it, but it's just too cute. Come on, it's so cute. Oh. In the meantime, Linda was setting up the time maps for the levels, but then disaster struck. The player gets stuck. What? It gets stuck on the floor. What? Look.
It was the year 2025. Society was on the brink of collapse, and the box collider players lying on the ground in Unity's 2D physics engine and getting stuck bug was still a thing. Mali had not worked on a 2D platformer in a long time, but he remembered it like they had only just met the day before. For the entire day, our heroes would fight this bug, trying anything from bumping the player up every now and then to making it a floating box. But somehow, everything failed. At 7:30 PM, after some had already left, Mali said these words. Why the hell does 2D not have a capsule collider like 3D? It would make things so much simpler.
Okay, that was a blunder, and I'll spare you the details. But long story short, the player kept getting stuck due to some almost negligible floating point inaccuracies in the tile collider. So eventually I just realized I couldn't make the corners rounded so that the player would just glide over said inaccuracies. Also, I have not forgotten about our composer, Victor. While we were tackling the visuals, the narrative, and the gameplay, he was at home cooking. And cooking he did. What you just listened to was the soundtrack for the more high pressure moments of the game, and it's awesome.
So after that, I forgot to record anything else because I've been fixing the same bug over and over like 20 times for the rest of the day. I'm gonna go out for dinner with some friends, and when I come back home, I'll go back to fixing a couple more bugs.
Today is day 3, last hours in the Global Game Jam 2025. I'm having a little coffee at home. I'm warming up, and like 3 to 5 minutes, I'm gonna take my car and drive back to the jam site. I have some code to remove to fix a bug that was fixed 5,000 times yesterday and kept re-happening. Maybe I'm just bad. And then I have one feature to recode that I tried to avoid yesterday, and then some minor things. It's gonna be fun. Come along.
The final day was a rush. Fiamma started editing the trailer for our game, which was the first deliverable at our jam site. Claudia was grinding away at some beautiful illustrations for the game's initial cutscene. Linda was working on the UI and overall polish of the game. Victor was finalizing the sound effects, while Norman and I were coding the last features, while squashing bugs as they came up.
Let's go!
Everyone was busy and no one was lacking. But I have to give a special shout out to Whyres. The mad lad actually managed to not only design, but build and balance 4 entire levels for the game. And they're actually fun. All of this while doing a terrific job as QA and bugging me with a new bug to fix every 2 minutes for 6 hours. No hard feelings though, I promise.
We are on the last stretch. It's actually been almost 3 hours already since I started this morning. So time flies when you're having fun. Most bugs seem to be fixed. We're missing some art, some audio, the music. I need to put in the music now, I remember. And in general, I mean, the game is a pretty funny and ragey platformer, but it's very cute. It's very cute. And I'm happy with it. I'll see you soon. I'll go back to work.
There are moments in video games where something happens that takes you aback, disrupting your preconceived notions about the game. Like when the Hollow Knight starts stabbing himself to help you defeat the Radiants, or when Ganondorf actually starts dodging and countering your attacks in Tears of the Kingdom's final fight. I'm not comparing our little janky jam game to these masterpieces, but there's this little moment in my new school action in level 2, where triggering a door actually makes an enemy jump at you, where you have to get out of the way, as if to say, don't trust every door, watch your back. And that, when I finally played the game, it was the best feeling ever. What we had made was fun.
It's 10 minutes from the showcase. We delivered, we uploaded a build with 2 hours to spare, which was incredible. Then I proceeded with fixing a lot of bugs and ended up uploading the final build with just 1 hour to spare, which is still pretty good. If you don't count that I had to upload another one like 30 minutes later with a final bug fix. But now it should be bug free, at least the ones that we know of. And I'm really happy.
After delivering the builds, it was time to play what other teams had made. There was a rap-themed WarioWare-like, an embolism simulator, and a rhythm game where you had to blow into a microphone. But the best part about this phase was actually watching others play our game.
Who's playing that?
And do you remember when I said the mechanics could be exploited? Well, turns out speedrunners will always find a way.
It's not about speed, it's about breaking out. Ragazzi, non sistematela questa cosa.
Let's go!
Non sistematela.
No, it's a matter of principle.
Nick, what happened?
Nick, all your work!
Where are the spiders? The secret spiders.
We got bridging, where you can skip parts of the level horizontally. We got climbing, where you can skip parts of the level vertically. And we got frame-perfect jumps off of bubbles that are too small and would otherwise pop if you cannot time your input just right. Some might say this is not ideal, but I will say that if players are actually engaged with your game enough to try and break it and come up with unintended strategies, you must have done something right. So here's the final game. It's called the Snort Quest, and we can press play, and we have an initial cutscene. There's a mama echidna who's sleeping with the kids, and an evil spider comes in and kidnaps the kids. But now it's our mission to save them. But we can blow bubbles with spacebar, and this will allow us to actually make it further than we would jumping. There are these doors that we can open with our bubbles. And there's a little baby. Okay, the spider must have dropped him. You will notice though that when we get him, we are on 1 HP. We also have to be very careful because echidnas are spiky. So if we just hit the bubble like this, it will pop. And you will see there's enemies there. Capture an enemy here in order to make it here. Okay, perfect. We can capture enemies. And this is the moment I was talking about. Okay, this is pretty cool. Also, the Global Game Jam is not officially a competition, but local jam site organizers tend to give out special mentions or shoutouts to outstanding games in many categories, from best visuals to best audio to best game design to the most wanted best game. And our team got best game design, which is arguably second place. So yeah, the title is not completely clickbait. Bye!